Hey, check, mic 1 1 2. Check, mic 1 1 2. Yeah, it goes. Introducing, interviewing, tuning in online, rechecking it. Missy D Interviews. Missy D Interviews. Introducing, interviewing, tuning in online, rechecking it. Missy D Interviews. Hi everyone, we're back with a special edition of Missy D Interviews, number 9, special edition. My name is Missy D, I'm she and her pronouns, and I'm joining you from the unceded traditional and ancestral land of the Muslim peoples. I will be speaking to some stellar folks living on the land of the Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh Muslim peoples. Take this time to acknowledge the land that you're on, the people, and as we reflect on all the things currently happening around the world and in our communities, I want to dedicate this episode to the people that are in need, hoping this episode shines in solidarity with you. Missy D Interviews is about shining light on the realities, on the dreams, on the stars, on the movement, and community builders for this. So for this special edition, let's talk Constellation. The Constellation is a collective bringing together a group of local event organizers to help bring musicians and fans alike more of what they want to see. If you love live music and want to meet some of the people making it, the Constellation wants to meet you. Like on the locals website, it goes, "Why be a star when you can make a constellation?" says Naomi Murakawa. So let's meet some of the wonderful performers, curators, who illuminate the stage at Gilpin Coast Stage on Wednesday, November 9th at 7 p.m., where Locals Lounge presents Phillips, Cenzina, the Dean Thiessen Electric Band, curated by Face the Music. So while we wait for the show, let's warm up. You're wondering who are the faces next to me? You're gonna get to meet them, get to hear from them, get to see the behind the scenes of who they are. So let's start with my first question for y'all. Who are you and what you want the people to know about you? Thanks for joining Missy D Interviews. What up, y'all? How's it going on the virtual world out there, or in person if you're watching this one day? Thanks for joining me on a Sunday afternoon. Like I said in my correspondence to Navreet, I want to know who you are behind the scenes and kind of get to know you for the next 45 minutes. So my first pre-question, and I'll pass it first to Navreet. Who are you and what you want the people to know about you?
Hi, my name is Navreet. I am co-founder of Face the Music Entertainment. We started in 2019 with a goal to bring music to Vancouverites, while also having a goal to pay musicians fairly. And, the pandemic happened and we weren't able to do what we love for about 2.5 years. And we're so glad to be doing that. So this is officially our 5th show that we're doing. And our goal is just to bring music to as many Vancouverites as possible with diversity and intimacy at the core. We really like to prioritize bringing these showcases into small, intimate venues, getting our friends and family sort of packed in there, introducing them to new music and different musicians throughout the city. And one of our core values is to pay musicians fairly. Obviously, before the pandemic and given the way things were, musicians haven't always not been treated the best in society, especially, there are certain pressures of you have to go through just like the worst treatment possible in order to get to a point where you owe or you feel like you deserve what you make, when that's not the case at all. Musicians are people. They deserve to be treated fairly. They deserve to be compensated fairly. So we've created a music presentation model in which we like to bring as much music to audiences as possible, but also pay musicians fairly at the same time.
You're speaking to my heart and soul. It's nice to meet you as well, and it's nice to hear about Face the Music, new discoveries as artists, but also as an organization. So I appreciate the work you're putting in and organizing with this event. I would like to know, Phillips, who are you and what you want the people to know about you?
Yeah, my name is Phillips. I've loved music my whole life. I went to the fine arts school for high school, and just that's all I did. I told all my teachers I was going to be a rock star, and they didn't like that. Um, Still haven't quite hit rock star status yet, but we're trying to have fun with it the whole time, and so yeah, I've loved music my whole life. Went to college for music for a little bit, and then came back. And I guess to condense a long story, I I I think I took myself too seriously the first round I did it, so I took a little break, did a couple of freshman years in different degrees, and it all came back to I want to do this. Music is what makes me happiest. But at the end of the day, I made an agreement with myself that I'd never take myself that seriously again, and just try and have fun with it. And there's really no space for ego or envy. It's just got to be lifting other people up. So that's how I try and move through space. That's the condensed version of all of it. But thank you for having me here.
Oh, thank you. And it's nice to meet you as well. And I want to say, I don't know, I think I watched a few videos. This is what I do before the interviews. I think you got some rock star energy in you. So all along, maybe you knew it. You knew it all along. I'm going to pass the mic to Cenzina. Who are you and what do you want the people to know about you?
Hello, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here. As I mentioned, I saw that Nav had posted that it was a dream of hers to curate a show like this for Guilt & Co. And it was also secretly a dream of mine to be asked to perform one of these shows. So it was dreams on dreams there. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I'm a local Vancouver artist. I kind of started doing acoustic music a few years back, and I was performing gigs alone on piano and guitar and singing. And then I grew a band, and it kind of snowballed from there. I've got some awesome folks backing me right now, members from Project Van City, which are this kind of super group of musicians with interchangeable drummers, bassists, guitar players, singers. They're really awesome people and musicians as well. And I just feel really grateful to be able to make music with them and to share it with you guys this week.
Another artist I'm very excited to see next Wednesday, this Wednesday. Wow. I thought I was going to say next Wednesday, November 9th. I'm excited to see the community that surrounds you. And I feel like there's a special group of people that you play with that will be on that stage with you. I will pass the mic to Dean. Who are you and what do you want the people to know about you?
Yeah, hi. I'm Dean. I've been playing my instrument on piano ever since I was like 5. I always enjoyed it. So after high school, I did a degree in jazz composition. And then after that, I have a pretty all-in career of music. I play all around town in a bunch of different groups, mostly in like swing jazz and stuff like that. But my own compositions are a lot more on the modern side of jazz, lots of improvisation and free. I have a big band that I has just started getting off the ground. That's a 15-piece ensemble with like trumpets and trombones and saxophones and stuff that I compose music for. I've done work with strings and orchestras and all kinds of stuff like that. The band that will be playing at this is nothing like that. It's kind of a pleasure band of sorts, just kind of playing the songs that make us happy. And we're just gonna have a whole lot of fun. So yeah.
Nice to meet you, Dean, as well. Yeah. I went and visited your website. You have one of the coolest websites I've seen. So I almost went on a loophole. I was like, I gotta listen to other music, but then there's these other compositions, and then there's this like live streaming, and then there's like a December Christmas video that I came upon, and I was like, I'm in that mood. Maybe I'm gonna listen to that. So I did the same with everybody's music as well. So you will see me reference some of the things that I observed and listened, and you might hear one of your tracks at the end of the interview, but we're just getting started. So I'm gonna go with round 1. It's called What's Up, What's New. So now the people know a little bit more about you, about what you do, but I'm curious to know, and this is the moment where you can, plug in events, plug in albums, whatever you're working on, what's up and what's new in your life. And I'm gonna switch up the order, and I'm gonna go to Brock first. What's up and what's new? What are you working on these days?
So these days, honestly, I'm writing a lot, trying to take some space for myself to focus on the creative side of everything. Had a really busy summer. I'm sure those of you in the industry, all of you understand what it's like when things start to get a little out of hand and everyone kind of wants something from you, and you kind of have to take a minute to recenter yourself and think, okay, do I have enough left in the tank here to give other people, or am I running out of stuff for myself? So I had a really busy summer and fortunate for it. It's always a privilege to be working as a musician, always a privilege. But I've been these days setting firmer boundaries with the things that I take on. They have to be things that fill my heart, and so this was definitely one of them. But yeah, intentionally cutting back a little bit on all the dinner gigs, and a few private events here and there, but really just trying to write and have fun with it. I don't have much to plug. I'm writing. I have no idea when I'm going to release the stuff. I'm just trying to have fun with it. So that's me.
I think that's a great plug. The anticipation, the creation, the rest. I think all those things are wonderful to hear. So thanks for sharing. Let's go. I'm just trying to change up the order. Dean, what's up and what's new in your life?
Yeah. I too had a really busy summer, so I can very much sympathize of trying to find space. The fall always brings a very different time, a very different pace, and it feels like it hasn't slowed up. It hasn't slowed down in a lot of ways. Usually there's a bit of like a, kind of things get a little more consistent in September when September hits, but it has not yet. So I guess we'll see what happens. But no, coming up, I got a few things going on this show, obviously, whoop whoop. You gotta check it out. Then the day after, I'm playing with a great friend of mine named Jeffrey Dawson, who's a great tap dancer. He's just an incredible force of energy, and we're just playing as a trio at the Havana Club on Commercial Drive, or the Havana Theater, pardon me, on Commercial Drive. And then the day after, on Friday, I'm featuring my own trio called Stranger Friends. We're playing a suite of music that I composed a couple summers ago during COVID. The first public performance of it at Frankie's Jazz Club in the evening show. So we start at 11:30 p.m. at Frankie's. So yeah.
Sounds like a busy week. And
yeah.
I love hearing that. And like you said, hope you find your rhythm into this fall, early winter that we're experiencing right now. Let's go with Navreet. Oh, Navreet, sorry. What's up and what's new in your life?
What's up and what's new? Much like Brock, I'm really trying to understand what my boundaries are. I like to think that, there's this weird intersection of my life that I'm starting to figure out and starting to look more into, is that I'm a child of a first generation immigrant, so who's also working in the arts. So there's always been a pressure that I've put on myself that I have to do more and show more for it because I chose a career in the arts. So a lot of this fall, I've gotten a lot of amazing opportunities to do stuff. Recently joined the board of Music BC, started a new job in the music space, and just sort of figuring out what my boundaries are, and not taking too much on and making space for myself. So next few of these months, we've gotten a lot of opportunities, a lot of dreams have been fulfilled. But as of right now, I'm trying to figure out how can I best preserve my energy and my space so I can continue serving the community in a way that won't drain me or tap me out in the years to come.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. One, congratulations on being one of the board on the board for Music BC. And like you said, yeah, you're enough. And I hope that, yeah, you find the moments to rest and find the boundaries that you want to set. And, you know, creating and serving the community you want to serve as you go on. I resonate with that story a lot in many ways. So thanks for sharing. Cenzina, what's up and what's new with you?
Hello. Yes, boundaries. It seems to be a big theme this year. I think that maybe that's something that we're all navigating is, yeah, finding where our energy is best spent and when it's time to just rein it in and be still for a little bit, for sure. I'm really looking forward to this show on Wednesday. That's definitely one of my highlights right now. And then after that, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different with the band that I mentioned, the project Fan City. We're doing a live performance, but also like a recorded performance at Hipposonic Studios on November 19th. This is my first time doing anything like this, where the whole entire thing is recorded, audio and video. It's going to be kind of like an intimate setting with me and another artist, Emma Alves. So we've been preparing a lot for that. So I'm super excited about that. And other than that, I'm just working on songwriting as well. I've got some music that I just finished recording, but it's not going to be out till next year. So I'm just kind of building an album around it. And yeah, I'm going to spend the winter doing that.
Thanks for sharing. Yeah, sounds like a busy week ahead, but lots of creation, lots of creativity, lots of performance.
Yeah.
You know, I'm very intrigued to see what that live audio sort of out. Would you release it as an album?
I think we're gonna release the songs individually as chunks. Some of them are covers, some of them are unreleased songs as well. So I might save those recordings for later next year when I do release those songs and have some like live recorded footage of them. Yeah.
Nice. Oh, well, thanks for sharing, everybody. I love to hear what's up and what's new and kind of like the foundation. You know, you get to hear about the introduction, a little bit of the foundation of what's currently happening in your season. Some of the words that came up were like rest, boundaries, creation. So I hope that you have those moments to echo those words into your life. I'm gonna put us through round 2 now. Round 2, I call it one of my favorite rounds, but maybe it's a difficult round in many ways. It's called Through the Wire, to the limit, to the wall. With you, I'm gonna risk it all. Da, 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 da. I apologize, I still have my morning voice right now. But Through the Wire is a song you might know by Kanye West, but actually it's Through the Fire. Which is a Shaka Khan song that he had sampled. And the reason why I chose that Shaka Khan song is because I wanted us to go back through time, back to getting to know who, what, or when, or the people that have inspired you and made you, or the moments that have inspired you and made you. So I'm gonna give you a random year, and I want you to think about the setting of that year. It might have not been a highlight. It might be just like, I was in high school, I was in grade 2. It might be more notes to it. So it's gonna ask a little bit of memory. And if you don't know and don't remember, don't worry, I'm not gonna fact check anything. So you can also give me another year and I'm like, oh, that was 2000, nice. So that's what I'm gonna say to set this up. So I have a year for each person. So I'm gonna go back in this order. Let's go with Navreet. Navreet. So your year is gonna be, let's go to 2010. What were you
2010?
Yeah.
2010, I was in grade 5. So a wee person struggling to learn the English language, had just moved to Surrey from New West. 2010, I just remember that being the year of the Olympics, and sort of thinking back to when 2010 was a paramount year of Vancouver. And I feel like that's where like a lot of issues of like affordability started rising. That 2010 Vancouver became like a world destination tour. Vancouver started developing at a really accelerated pace. And in 2010, just having grown up in like from a time when like Vancouver was easy, accessible, affordable to what it is now. Yeah, I like to think that 2010 really was a shifting year for Vancouver. And in terms of myself, yeah, I was learning the English language through music and film, and had to move to Surrey for the first time. And yeah, I think it was just a year where like where I was starting to log in a lot of changes in myself, and also a lot of societal changes, and was being aware of what was happening.
Yeah, you're a very observant grade 5 student. I would say as well. I'm like, oh, you're looking at what's happening in the world, but also in hindsight and in reflection over time. I can only imagine. I'm gonna pass it to, let's go with Dean. Dean, we were in 2010, and I didn't Google your ages, so I might be, overdoing it. But let's go to 2000. Where were you in 2000?
2000. Oh boy.
Yeah.
2000, I would have been in grade 2000. I would have been grade 2. I would have been in grade 2. My grade 2 teacher was the same teacher I had in grade 1, Mrs. I'll think of it. Maybe. I grew up in a really small town in the prairies. I'm from Alberta, town called Sylvan Lake, Alberta. At the time, it was the best place to be a kid. The population was about 3,000 people. I went to play school with the same people I went to high school with. It was just such a good group of people that I got to see basically through my entire upbringing. So whenever I think of me as a child, I think of climbing trees, riding my bike all over town. You could bike across town in like half an hour. Riding my bike with my friends and swimming. There's swimming a lot and climbing trees and falling out of all the trees as well. I fell out of a lot of trees as a kid. But yeah.
Grade 2, adventurous, falling out of trees, getting back up. It sounds like a really cool childhood. I like it. I like hearing a little bit of that past. I'm gonna go to Cenzina. We went to 2000, 2010. Let's go a little bit closer. 2019. What was that like? What do you remember from 2019?
That's a weird one, because it was like life, and then the pandemic hit. So that was like the last year before things got crazy. Well, I was working a 9 to 5, which I am no longer doing. The pandemic had a lot of shifts for me. For 10 years, I was a one-on-one behavioral interventionist for kids who had autism, and I was doing play-based and music-based therapy for them, and it was so rewarding. It was for little ones under 4. So that would have been the majority of my life that year, would have been going to work. And then I think I actually recorded, that was when the Project Band City started, and we recorded one of our first ever covers on their YouTube. And that was like, maybe I'm bleeding into 2020 a little bit, because I think that was just also at the start of the pandemic. But yeah, I would have just been mostly working around that time.
Yeah, it's nice to know the different experiences that people have. Like, I get to hear about grade 5, grade 2, and a little bit of your professional life in 2019. Let's go to Brock now. I know you're curious. You're like, where are you going to take me? And hopefully I don't take you too far. But what were you up to in like 2008?
Oh man. Well, that would have been grade 8 for me. That was a really hard year, to be honest. I never really knew how to fit in school. So that was my first year at Langley Fine Arts. And that was hard. That was a big change. I had some good friends in elementary school, like a couple good friends, and then everyone at Langley Fine Arts had kind of gone to the same school for 7 years already, or 8 years. And so I kind of came in there as a fresh grade 8, very self-conscious and not sure of who I was. And I think it was a hard year. I kind of actually had this conversation with a friend yesterday who went to high school with me. I said, I'm grateful for the experience, in hindsight, that I kind of got walls to bounce off of to know what would be called normal in society, I suppose. And then from that, now is a little existential, but learning what those walls are and then being able to play inside and outside of them by choice as an adult has been kind of a big takeaway. And I talked about this literally yesterday with a friend, so it's a good year to ask. I still wanted to be a musician. I showed up with my guitar. Everyone thought I was full of myself, and I probably was. But yeah, a lot of learning and a lot of humbling in that year and the following years. Yeah, big transitional year.
That's why I asked this question. I sometimes don't know, and sometimes I fall on years. I'm like, you want to move past it, you want to go back to it, but I, like you said so beautifully, sometimes it's those moments that are existential or transformational in some ways. In hindsight, maybe not the ones you want to go through, but in hindsight that it brings you where you are now. So thanks for sharing a little bit of those different lives. I feel like I got in a movie, like there's like a little like flash back, like technology. I would do that in the future to be like a little scene, but we're not there yet, but one day. I'm gonna go to round 3. Round 3 is a little bit more fun facts questions. So we're gonna go a little bit quicker, and I will name names and just, I want the answer that comes to your mind. Don't overthink it. Just say what comes to your mind. And this round is called that thing, that thing, that thing. So I want to know what's that thing, but different things. So the first question I have for y'all is, what's one thing that's your pet peeve? Cenzina.
One thing that's my pet peeve. I don't know, maybe when people just like aren't aware of other people and just like totally all up in their own zone and not like aware of the ones around them, the people that they're sharing space with, the ones that they're in front of. That definitely gets under my skin.
That's totally fair.
Yeah.
Brock, what's your pet peeve?
Is this musical or is this in general?
Whatever comes to mind.
I think personally, I guess it's kind of musical as well. I think it's, I don't want to say the same thing that you just said. But how do I phrase this differently? I see it on the road a lot, and I think everyone thinks that they're not like, but it's a bigger picture thing. It's just like people aren't thinking about other people around them, and just like I see it a lot in crazy driving. I'm like, you have a kid in your car, like please be better on the road. Like, oh my goodness. So I mean that, and I think that extends to just like, again, people in their own world. I'm literally just gonna build on your idea. Sorry. People in their own world, like that comes down to like respect for time, and understanding like when you are, yeah, asking someone for their time or something, like appreciate it and be present in that moment, and do your best to at least know that they're appreciated for the time they're taking out of their day for you, right?
And it's okay to have the same answer. Sometimes they align, and I love to see that on a call as well. You had time to think about it, maybe, and you have an answer. Navreet, what's your pet peeve?
I would say my pet peeve, I like to build up on both of these answers here, is that people not being aware of the space that they occupy. I feel like a lot of people don't think about the repercussions of their actions. And, some people are very much go with whatever is going. They don't like to think twice, but I feel like people can be a lot more mindful, especially in relationships, not like romantic, but any kind of relationships. Like whatever you say, whatever you act towards that person, like please acknowledge the way that they are treating you and treat them with respect and kindness and give them the same space, right? I think there's a lot, so we're like just people not being aware of the space that they occupy in people's life, like how much heart space they might be actually be taking up or how much brain space they might be taking up. I think it's really nice to sort of like do the inner work every now and then and like evaluate every relationship in your life and sort of go back and think like, okay, this is how much space I occupy in someone's life. I should be a little bit more receiving or giving or forgiving and whatnot.
There's a theme coming up here. But Dean, don't feel pressure. Maybe you have another pet peeve. It's okay. What's your
Oh my
pet peeve?
gosh, those were all such beautiful responses to such a nice question. I've been trying this whole time to think of another one other than the first one that came to mind, because all your answers were so genuine and so heartfelt. Mine is I in the neighborhood I'm in, there's an Italian restaurant that I don't like at all because because they serve just huge portions of food, and it's not. Maybe if you know about where I am, you can figure out what restaurant I'm talking about. But they just serve huge. yes, I just typed it in the chat. Yeah, that's it. They serve just huge portions of food, and it's like not very good. It's just huge. So people line like on a Tuesday, it'll be like lined up like 3 store blocks. Meanwhile, in the neighborhood I live in, there's so many little Italian places and like little like pasta, handmade pasta, and they just line up in these little stores. A few of them have closed over COVID, so every time I walk by there, I see this lineup. I just want to yell at all these people like, if you want Italian food, there's like 4 restaurants right down the street that are empty. So that's my pet peeve.
Great answer.
Can I chime in? Thank you so much. I've always been wondering what that line was about and if it's actually good. And you're right, there's so much authentic Italian food. I live in the same area.
Oh, okay, great.
Information, I will never wait in that line. Thank you.
I mean, to chime in here, that's another pet peeve of mine is lineups. Like Vancouver, I don't know what it is about Vancouver in specific, but when Jollibee's opened, like right on Granville, like there's so many other fried chicken places. I'm a vegetarian. I've never had fried chicken, but I know that there's like 4 other freaking fried chicken places like in that same block radius. Why, how do people have 3 hours of their day to line up for chicken? I will never understand this. And then a few weeks ago, I went to this, like, we had like a brunch meeting or someone with like a manager coming out of town. So I was like, Cafe Medina. Who the heck is going to show up at Cafe Medina at 9 o'clock? Apparently some people are like lining up there at 6 in the morning. How do people have 3 hours of their day to line up for food? Thank you, Dee. This was a really good pet peeve.
I'm really glad I could facilitate this conversation. Yeah.
The theme came through, like the theme and what I heard in the different answers, actually how considerate each of your answers are. You're considerate of the people that are in the room, the people that are not seen, the people that are on the road, but also the people that are in the lineup and being like, yeah, maybe there's other things you could discover. So very considerate group of folks on this call. I'm going to go to another thing question. Who knows, maybe it'll inspire some other answers, but I'm curious. What's one thing you would love to learn or love to teach? One thing you'd love to learn or love to teach. So I can see brains are thinking, and I'm gonna pass it to, let's go with Brock. What's one thing you'd love to learn or love to teach?
I would love to learn how to play piano so badly. I've tried so many times and I get so frustrated with myself, and I don't have, maybe I do have the patience, maybe I just need to try again, but I would love to learn how to play piano. It holds me back in so many spaces. And I have so much respect for people whose primary instrument is piano. It is it's I play like 3 chords on the guitar. So like when people are, you have to learn all of these things in different keys instead of just throwing a capo on it and moving a shape up the neck. Like that's wild. So I really wish that I could learn how to play piano, and maybe one day I will try again.
You might be surrounded by some people that might be able to help with that. From the videos that I've seen, both Cenzina and Dean can help you with the piano, but also don't underestimate the guitar, because I've had a guitar for the past 15 years, and y'all, you make it look easy. And here I am still struggling 15 years later, being like, you've played 3 chords, barely 1, E minor. That's the
Well,
one.
keep at it. Keep at it. You got 2 more chords to go.
2 more chords. I appreciate it. Let's go with Navreet. What's one thing you'd love to learn or love to teach?
I'd love to learn how to swim. My parents kept me very sheltered growing up. I just don't know if like this is a BIPOC experience, like my parents were very like like if we like fell off our bikes, we didn't get to ride our bikes for 4 months because they're like, my poor baby fell. I drowned once in swimming classes and I was like pulled out and never learned to swim. So I would love to learn how to swim so I can appreciate like all of BC and what it has to offer, sort of like play around in the oceans and not be such a little like hazard for my friends when we decide to go for a lake swim.
I want that for you. I'm a water baby. I'm like, the water is always great. So I hope you start floating your way through it one of these days. Cenzina, what's one thing you'd love to learn or love to teach?
I would love to learn Italian. That is my background, and it feels weird to me that English is the only language that I know, but it doesn't feel like my mother tongue, and it's not. And I just have a lot of appreciation right now for like my grandparents and the generations that came before us, and just the little things. Like I'm so lucky that I still have them and they're still with me, and they're, half the time they speak to me and I don't even understand what they're saying, and that's actually really sad. So yeah, that's been something that's on my radar, to reconnect with my mother tongue and hopefully learn it while my grandparents are still here so I can speak to them in their language.
One day, un giorno is what I came upon on my little research here. So I hope that works for you. Dean, what's one thing you'd love to learn or love to teach?
Yeah, I'd also love to learn a language. My partner and her family speaks Mandarin. We've been married for 6 years now. And most of my vocabulary is food related, which there's a lot of food. If you know that culture at all, there's a lot of food and it's good food. So it's a helpful thing to know how to talk about, but it would be great to be able to be a little more fluent conversationally. Yeah.
I love the language learners, the musical learners, but also the life learners that we have in this room. So it's cool to get a little other side. We're gonna do one thing because time is floating by in some way. What's one thing you do before or after a performance? Even as a curator, maybe there's something you do before or after a show. Let's go back to Cenzina.
Before a show, I am solidly always very nervous no matter what, and after, I like to relax with a joint. That's usually my go-to. I'm like, I did it, let's go. We're going for honesty.
Oh yes, honesty, real talk, celebration. Now you know what Maria is going to be doing on Wednesday. Dean, what do you do before or after a show?
I suppose after I always enjoy the after show hangs, and just kind of like, especially playing a Guilt & Co. It's just such a good venue. Always, they always treat you so good there. So it's so nice to just sit in the back and just like, yeah, we sounded great. We tried really hard, and we did it, and so that's always fun. It's all about the people, and being thankful of each other. Yeah.
Gratitude after performance. I like hearing that. Brock, what's one thing you do before or after show?
A lot of my gigs are in Vancouver, and I'm a Fort Langley guy, so there's a lot of car time to like get in my head or get out of my head. So I like to do a warm up in the car, and I'll put on something really challenging, and it won't work most of the time, but it'll give me a sense of where my voice is for the night. When I get to the show, all of my car time is usually spent trying to find a sense of confidence that I don't move through space with usually. I find my onstage character is while still authentic, it's an exaggeration of who I am. And I have to pull that out every time. So I spend all the time in the car trying to figure out where that guy is today. And sometimes I get to the venue and I need an old fashioned to find him. And sometimes that's just what it takes. But that's my pre-show. And then after I'm usually again in Vancouver late. So I'm just dreading the drive back. So it's usually, thank you for being here. I really got to get back to Langley. Yeah.
Oh, now this group is gonna be understanding. Like when that happens on Wednesday, we'll be like rooting for you. Be like, drive safely. Do you need anything? So we'll keep that in mind for Wednesday's show. Navreet.
I got time for you guys.
Because I think Dean wants to hang. That's what I'm hearing. And Cenzina might be outside, but you can join her. Navreet, what are you up to? What do you do before or after a show?
Before the show, I like to Google the parking situation of the venue, like pull it up on Google Maps before my like 45-minute drive from Surrey to figure out like what's the best way to load in and load out. A lot of venues don't have like parking or like Gilton codes, like load-in areas a little bit weird. So like beforehand, I have to like prepare myself for like how am I going to get my car in there, map out these scenarios, get over the anxiety of parking. So that's my before. Then after is just like sort of, just hanging out with our friends after the show. I think we're going off Dean's answer. We really like to bring people that have never met each other before into a room. And we've sort of done that with our last few shows and sort of just seeing these new friendships and like opportunities being built out of our shows. So I always look forward to that.
Sounds like a community builder. That's what I'm feeling or gauging from our conversation. Just being mindful of time. Does anybody have to be somewhere right at 2? No? Okay. I might go over. I might take 10 more minutes of your time if that's okay. I've got a couple more rounds and I'm just so curious to hear your answers for these rounds. So the next round is called I Am Made of Stars. It goes, I am made of stars, stars, stars. I am made of stars, stars, stars. A song by a great friend of mine named Kim Mortal. And what I love about that song is that they were rapping sort of the fact that they're part of greater constellations than themselves, including themselves as well. So the question I'm asking is really about, tell me about the people who inspired you in the past, or maybe people that are inspiring you right now, or maybe people that you just are like, Missy, you should check them out. People online should be checking them out. This is kind of like the shout out round for all the inspirations. It could be musical, it could be other. I want to hear it all. So let's go back to Navreet. Navreet, who inspires you? Who are the stars amongst your constellation?
Yeah. I was thinking about this the other day and sort of thinking about who I wanted to be and who I look up to. 2 years ago during the pandemic, I had the great honor of working with the city of Surrey, where I met like the most wonderful woman, and she was my manager. Her name was Jenna Kazimski, and she's been such a big inspiration in how I want to shape my career and occupy space in the music industry as a woman. I've been just looking up to her a lot recently, and just she does it in such a graceful way without not letting go of her values. And I think that's one thing that you can get lost in the music industry, especially like if you're a woman with all these intersectionalities, is that you tend to go with the patterns or the traditional patterns. You tend to lose values and morals and whatnot just to get ahead. And I just sort of look back at her and the things that she's gone through and the things that like the shared experiences that we've had together as women in the music industry, and we try to keep our head up high. And yeah, just sort of like my career as a marketing specialist, as an event specialist, I really, really do look at her as a really big inspiration.
I love that you have someone to look up to and someone to hopefully talk to when you're having those questions along your journey. Let's go to Dean. Dean, who are the stars amongst your constellation?
Wonderful. Yeah. Well, I'd have to mention my high school band teacher, Carrie Heisler. She was a huge inspiration to me. Just gave me the space to do whatever I wanted to do. Yes, so that's the first one. And now in my career, it's everybody I get to rub shoulders with. Just like my I think the clearest way that I can talk about this is through my big band that I've been working on for so long, but it has only kind of come to life in the last like 12 months or so. It's called Stranger Friends. And that name is supposed to be kind of an indication of people who don't know each other but have some commonality with each other, just like all of us. We have this common interest, and through that common interest, we're friends. And this big band has been like carefully crafted. All the people in it are people that I care so much about and have given me a whole bunch of their own time, and I love each and every one of them. We have like such a diverse ensemble of people that and in that diversity it makes the music that much more interesting and that much more exciting. So yeah, that's my answer.
Thanks for sharing that answer. I did listen to Stranger Friends actually today as well, so we might be listening to that at the end of this episode. Cenzina, well, who are the people that have inspired you? Who are the stars amongst your constellation?
Yes, much like Dean, I'm very much inspired by the people that are around me right now, the people that I get to meet along the way, just like you guys, including my band. I talk about these guys a lot. I have so much love for them. They were the first kind of group of musicians that really felt right. And for the first time, it wasn't like a bunch of egos in the room, because a lot of times, as you guys know, music can be like that. It was my first experience just playing with people who just had that love in their hearts for the music and just goofing around and really wanting to just have a good time and make some fun tunes. And so meeting those people, this was like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, totally changed it for me, where I'm able to just create from the heart and then share that with people who are just genuinely like loving what they're doing.
It's important to surround yourself with those types of people. So I'm glad you're finding them. Brock, who are the stars amongst your constellation?
I'm going to try and condense this as much as I can. I was really excited about this question because I think the only reason I'm doing what I'm doing right now is because of people going above and beyond and believing in me. And so the first person that it comes to mind is my high school choir teacher. He was Dr. Jim Sparks. He passed away about 4 months ago, and every morning, we'd show up for morning choir practice, and everyone would have a smile on their face. And I have no idea how you get a group of high schoolers to smile that early in the morning and laugh and have fun. We had some of the most magical experiences in that high school choir. We we sang backup for Mariana's Trench once, and then Eric Whitaker the same year. It was unbelievable the amount of experiences that he presented for us, and I'm eternally grateful for everything that I learned from him, and uh, how above and beyond he went as a mentor, and it felt like a family member. Um, Beyond that, I sort of cut my teeth as a musician at an open mic growing up at the Wired Monk in Murrayville. Uh, I wasn't any good, and it didn't matter because the community there uh, lifted everybody up and gave everyone a platform to try something new, whether or not you wanted to be an artist, whether or not you wanted to be um, you just wanted to do it for fun or just try it. And that for me, going to a place where I could try things and not fear judgment is the only reason I'm doing what I'm doing today, and having that courage to try. So that inspired me, and I met a lot of musical idols, which is a story for another day. But because of these people that I've met, I decided I wanted to try and give back and create an open mic. And so we ran an open mic every Wednesday at a small vegan cafe in Walnut Grove. And I initially thought that I would, you know, I saw it as I'm going to do this and try and give back. And it ended up giving me more than anything that I ever anticipated. I would show up to those days, and I would see kids with so much potential. Our main demographic was probably 16 to 25. And I would see these people with so much potential and so much joy and so much development in a short amount of time, from their first time performing to 4 months later, they're booking shows and they're singing for people and they're doing this thing. And seeing that was such an unexpected. I just never thought that it would give me that much joy. And the community there has become such a staple, and such an important thing. And music really is community, and I think that's the overarching thing from my choir director, from all the people that have extended to me. It's, you need to go above and beyond, and community is what makes this magical.
Can't even summarize it better than that. So thank you all for your answers. Thank you for honoring the people that have paved the way for you, for the people that have inspired you, to the people that support you, and like you said, the community that surrounds you. I think that's what I hear in that round of I Am Made of Stars. We've got 2 more rounds. But this next round is when I pass the mic to y'all. This is when I sit back and relax. But really, it's my favorite round as well. It's called Flip It and Reverse It. Is your yeah. So of course, Missy D loves Missy Elliott. So I had to have a Flip It and Reverse It round, a work it round. But really, it's an opportunity for you. You've heard each other mention some things throughout the call, and maybe you're like, yo, I'm trying to chime in, like I also have some questions. So this is your opportunity to ask each other some questions. So each person will have one question that they can ask. They can ask it specifically to one person or to the whole group, and then you can tag the next person. Who has a question that they want to ask the group? Cenzina, go for it.
Okay. What is a lyric that as soon as you heard it, it stuck with you for the rest of your life? If there is one. Anyone who has an answer, yeah.
I hope I'm not paraphrasing here. I'm really into Jason Isbell right now. He's one of my favorite writers on earth. And he wrote this song called Speed Trap Town. And there's a line in that song that paints a picture. So he has other songs that do a whole lot more digging, but this is such a simple song, and it makes you feel like you're growing up in this small southern town, and it's a life I've never lived, but I feel like I have. And the verse goes, "It's Thursday night, but there's a high school game. Sneak a bottle up the bleachers and forget my name. These 5A bastards run a shallow cross. It's a boy's last dream, but a man's first loss." Oh, most beautiful lyric I've ever heard. That's me.
I love that. Thank you for sharing.
One of my favorite songwriters of all time is the late Jeff Buckley. Unfortunately, unfortunately, he gave us what I think to be the best album of all time, which is Grace. There's a lyric in a song called from his song Lover You Should Have Come Over, where the first chorus is, "Looking at the door, I see the rain fall upon the funeral mourners, parading in a wake of sad relations as their shoes fill up with water." And I feel like that alludes to his death because he drowned. Like, he was just like, after a show, he just went for a swim in the Mississippi River, and he was singing some sort of like Led Zeppelin song, and he just like passed away. He just drowned singing one of his favorite songs of all time. And I just think it's really weird how that one lyric just like alluded to his death as if like he knew it was coming. And I think about that and it makes me sad. But I'm forever grateful for the one album that he was able to give us, because it really, really, really has shifted my entire life. Every time I listen to it, it takes me back to the same moment when I first discovered it when I was 15 and going through my first heartbreak. And it's something that I will carry on with me forever. It's not like super fundamentally, but I don't know. I just think it's weird how some artists are able to like predict what's going to happen through their music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really cool one.
I don't have much of an answer. I'm a instrumentalist primarily, so I actually find it quite challenging to attach a lot of like emotional value onto lyrics, just something that I've never really like spent a lot of time on. But I will say there are some albums, I can't think of specific lyrics, but Katie Lang in her album Ingenue, I know there's some just life-changing stuff in that album. The first time I heard that record was just blew my mind. And then the other album that comes to mind just for the lyrics is the Highway Women with Brandy Carlisle and other singers that I don't remember their names, but that album as well has really been, it's just incredible. Yeah, incredible music.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Great question. You see, I think you could do this. Pass the mic to you.
What about you? How about you, Missy?
I was trying to think of an answer. I know some people always like throw it to me, and I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I'm a bad interviewee. The lyric that comes to mind. Let me think about it while the next person asks a question, and I'll come to it. I was not even, I didn't think you were gonna ask me. But Navreet, yeah, do you have a question for the group?
Yeah, I do. I really like to know what was like the specific moment that you were like, this is it. I want to do music for the rest of my life. When did that moment occur? I would love to know.
Okay. That happened for me late in life. It was like I did music my whole life since I like was 5 or 6. My parents put me to the Royal Conservatory, and it was kind of something that I had to do. And so I was kind of pushed away from it. Like in high school, I had gotten into a School of the Arts in Ontario and was somehow dissuaded and chose to go to an all-girls high school instead because it was the cooler thing to do. I pick my brain, my logic there. I don't understand it. But that was just the way that I felt about it at the time. And I had taken a step away from music because it was felt like something I had to do rather than I wanted to do. And then in 2015, 16, I got really, really sick with an autoimmune condition that prevented me from being able to walk or stand up. I couldn't stand up long enough to take a shower or to brush my teeth or to cook or to do anything. I was basically bedridden for 6 months. And during that time, I had to fly home to be in the care of my family in Toronto because I couldn't take care of myself at all or work or do anything like that. And in that time, I was stuck on the couch for 6 months. I deeply reconnected with music, and that became the only time or place that I didn't feel the pain that was in my body and that was in my legs, and I was able to kind of go somewhere else. And when music was kind of like not a viable option for me my whole life, even though it was something I had to do, when I got sick, I knew it was something that I had to do and that there was never going to be me without music again. And so I made a quick recovery, moved back to Vancouver, and basically just started making music and putting out music and doing shows, and that was that.
I guess I will add on to that. Yeah, music was something that I it's just kind of happened. I didn't really do anything else when I was a kid. I liked practicing. I liked playing piano. And then after high school, I just found myself in music school. And I remember like the first harmony class, we were like analyzing a Bach thing and doing figured bass and analyzing the harmony. I was just like, yeah, this is good. This is kind of a funny thing, but that was like my first time that I remember like, oh, this is happening and there's like a future here. But really like the moment, like the moment happens like almost every day where you're just like so glad that you're in the space that you are in and you're with the people that you're with, and you're making music with the people you're making music. It's just like every day, not every day, we all know that, but maybe every other day you're reminded how awesome all this is. I have a speech impediment, and music has always been the easier form of communication for me. I can practice with these and get these sounding really excellent, and I have full control over these. So that's been huge for me.
Sorry, my connection is so bad, and I've like it's dropped out during some really, really important things you guys have been saying too. And so I might reach out and ask for your answers or watch the recording. For me, I think I thought this was all I ever wanted to do, but I don't know if I actually knew that until I came back to it after trying a few other things, and I always thought that I couldn't do anything else. I didn't do very well in high school, so I thought it was like, oh, okay, well, at a certain point, I just kind of have to do this. And then I went and tried a few other things, and I was okay at them, but I wasn't as happy as doing this. So I think there was sort of an actual moment, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, that happened where I thought, well, I'm not getting this joy anywhere else. I didn't understand that before. So that was it for me.
I think to circle it back myself, like I never got into being a musician. Like I went through music lessons and everything, but I just never found the same sort of spark in performing music as I did like organizing stuff or attending a live show. I started being really active in the Vancouver music scene when I was like 16. 333 was like the only all ages venue in town, and there wasn't like many places where a kid could go to learn about local music except for this really shoddy car garage on like Hastings. But you know, like that's where I learned about all of these local bands, especially in the punk and DIY scene. So was really active in the local music scene growing up, and the only thing I ever wanted to do is like, how can I best support my friends? How can I best support these people and help them make their dreams come true? So yeah, 333 was a big pivotal and attending shows was a big pivotal moment for me, because that's where I learned that like I really want to be on the other side, helping musicians facilitate their careers and producing events, because I know I could do them better, because I was the one attending those events. How can I make them safer, more community oriented? So yeah, 333 was a big one for me.
I like all these questions. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get inspired and perhaps use your questions as rounds. Not to skip on Cenzina's question. I will answer it because I found the lyrics that I wanted to share, and I hear it in some of the stories you shared. It's lyrics from a J. Cole song called Love Yours. He says, it's beauty in the struggle, ugliness in the success. Hear my words or listen to my signal of distress. I grew up in the city and know sometimes we had less compared to some down the block. Man, we were blessed. And life can be no fairy tale, no once upon a time, but I'd be goddamn if I don't be trying. So tell me, mama, please, why you be drinking all the time? Does all the pain he brought you still linger in your mind? Because pain still lingers on mine on the road to riches. Listen to this, what you will find. The good news is you came a long way. The bad news is you went the wrong way. Think being broke was better. There's no such things as that's better than yours. So reminder that, not everything's always greener on the other side. And to quickly answer your question, Navreet, I feel like there's little bits of everybody's story that I want to pick, where it's like sometimes I went that lane and found myself doing music still to this day, and never stopped, and got a degree, and one day wrote a letter to my parents being like, if I have grandkids one day, I just want them to know that their grandma had an album once upon a time. So that was like the first goal. And then I completed that first goal. And then I was like, I've been doing it for quite some time, so why don't I keep going? So that's a short version of my answer to your question. Dean or Brock, do you have a flip it and reverse it? Do you have a question you'd like to ask the group or someone specifically?
Oh, sure. I'll try to keep it on like the fun side. Is there a song that you play to like get instantly in a happy mood? For me, it's Dreamer by Supertramp. That song, like I grew up in my dad's truck. He had one CD over like 10 years, and it just moved from truck to truck, and it had Dreamer by Supertramp on it. It was like a compilation CD. So Dreamer by Supertramp is my, just like, I'm gonna feel happy after this song.
I have a funny answer to this. My parents aren't very musical, and their music taste is it's just it flows with whatever's popular at the time. And so growing up, I would the background sounds to my life were like Smooth by Santana and Rob Thomas, and what's the other one that's very similar? Oh, it's an important one. I can't remember it, and if I do remember it, I'm not going to say it because it's more embarrassing than Smooth. And so it's definitely those two songs. If I remember it, I'll type it into the chat. But those songs always make me happy.
I think, yeah, I think that, hello. A song that makes me really happy and just, I don't know, 1111 by the Arkells. It's not even that deep of a song, but it just goes so, it just reminds me of a time when things were so much easier, when you're 19, you're getting ready for a date. The experience of dating a musician when you're 18 and 19, it sort of just brings me back to that glow. And generally, it's a really fun song to just put up and like put on and dance to.
I'm a little embarrassed. I'm having a hard time thinking of a song that makes me happy, but it's probably because I usually like, I don't know, I go for like moody stuff when I'm putting on music, and I like to like get inspired. So the song that came to my head was like Jefferson Airplane's White Rabbit. I just love that song. It just gets me in a mood. Sometimes when I start off and I sit at my piano and I'm like, what am I going to play today? That'll be my first one. And it just makes me feel kind of like badass. And let's see what happens next.
I love all these answers. You heard me trying to YouTube some of these songs because I don't know all these songs, but I'm gonna check them out, and hopefully I'll get those vibes and happiness cells and hormones running through my body. The song that does that for me is usually any Motown. Sometimes like like Earth, Wind and Fire, September. Usually that gets me pretty happy. If you're trying to get me dancing, like some Sean Paul. that usually will get me be like, oh, you know what, it's a party, even though I'm like tired. I think Brock, it's your flip it or reverse it turn.
So my question is, I love hearing about how people, and this is a big question, so don't feel like you need to explain all of it or every time. And I know it varies from every single time too. I love hearing how the initial spark of a song turns into something tactile for you. So how do you go from absolutely nothing to something in front of you? Just those first few steps where you can recognize it as something of its own. So I guess to rephrase, the start of the songwriting process, or however far you want to take that. And I guess to extend this question to people who aren't writing songs, potentially, any creative idea, how do you take it from a blank slate to something where you have to have something?
I think I can start here. I don't write my own music, but I wish I had the ability to. But to go from like something to nothing, I think it's just a lot of like looking at what people are doing. It's a lot of like analysis for me. I like to think I'm a fairly analytical person, just like what are other curators doing in the space that we're not doing? How do we address certain gaps? And it's just creating like a mind map of like, okay, this is what we could be doing. This is what other people are doing a little bit of a SWOT analysis with our organization every now and then. And sometimes you just see something that people are really doing and you try to build off that. And I think that's how I go from having nothing to something.
You go next. For my songwriting process, I actually don't remember most of the songs that I will finish to completion that actually become songs. I can't remember writing them. I just start like noodling at the piano and I feel something good's coming, so I hit record. And then usually like I'll be writing, I usually write on the piano, sometimes on guitar, and the lyrics and the melody kind of come out all together, and I'll just be freestyling and some of the lyrics will stick. But I know it's going to be something when I go back and that like chunk was stuck in my head and I'm like, okay, I have to build on that. That's something to remember. But for a lot of the songs that I actually put out, it's not really this like laborious like songwriting process. It's just kind of like, bleh, and I'm like, oh shit, did I record that?
Yeah. Just to jump in there, does it often feel like you're catching an idea instead of creating one?
Yeah, and if you don't write it down, it's gonna just pass you.
You just grab on and hope you can. Yeah. Cool. I like that.
Yeah.
I think for me, writing mostly instrumental music. I still write with like paper and pencil. I have a big, beside my piano in my little office studio room there, I have this big board that I tape paper to. So I kind of like mind map stuff out. Yeah, and at times that board is full of things and just full of different ideas, and it's nice just to like see them and like feel them in the air, feel them in the room, and just letting things sit. But the nature of the music I write is like highly improvised, so you really don't you really don't get a picture of the song until it's performed, until it's, you know, it's actually played, which is really, really exciting. And to kind of add on to that, the composition is also so much based off of who is actually performing it. So like while I'm writing, I'll be thinking like, oh, is my friend on trumpet going to be performing this tune? Is this like for him or for her, or on saxophone, or like, is there like a drummer in this song, or like, you know, like kind of thinking about who as well, but not only just a drummer, but who, like who's the actual person that I feel would be able to kind of pull the stuff that I want, that I am hoping will happen out of it. But there's always surprises that happen. So yeah.
Well, another great question from all of y'all. My answer would be, I think a little bit similar to Cenzina. Like, you know how they say like your dreams are kind of like you processing what's in your mind. I feel like sometimes music is like that for me. So it usually stems from me trying to process something that just happened, or a thought or a feeling. And I'm usually sort of writing these memos. If people steal my phone, yeah, it's like a little journal of my life, here and there. And then sometimes it's a two-liner, sometimes it's like a little chorus, sometimes it's a verse that I'm just like, oh, for some reason, I just want to write a verse right in the moment. And I find, you know, you will catch me on the bus. I was on the ferry yesterday, just writing some of my thoughts. And then depending on like that day, if I don't have the words, then I listen to the music, and then the music gives me like sort of like it's like me mirroring the vibe that it gives me or makes me think of, or the memory it brings. And then from then you get a song, or sometimes it just stays in my memo, and then I look at it 4 years later being like, oh, maybe that's a song idea. So I've lost some phones and I've been sad about it, where I'm like, I should back that memo up. That's me. I appreciate, I think everybody asked a flip it and reverse it question, if I'm not wrong. So I appreciate you all thinking intentionally and being considerate of one another and asking these questions. I feel very inspired, and maybe creating 5 new rounds with those questions one of these days. We've come to the end, a little bit over time, and I appreciate the extra time you spent with me today. The last question is called To My Younger Self. So this is your moment to kind of have a message to your younger self, or your future self, or your current self. And your younger self could be 2 minutes ago, could be the one and the grade 2 version of yourself, the grade 5 version of yourself, 2010, when the Vancouver Olympics were happening, or maybe it's grade 8, and sort of speaking to that little, the little one back then. So as I give you some time to think, what would be your message to your younger self? And I'll go with whoever wants to start us off, and you can tag the next person.
I think a message to my younger self, I think I was obsessed with the idea of growing up, that I didn't really get to nurture my inner child. I didn't get to experience my childhood in the way that I wanted to, like reflecting about it now, because I was always just obsessed with the idea of like being grown up and doing grown up things, that I just didn't take enough time to be a child. And, there were like life circumstances on top of that, just like seeing my parents grow up, like because there were kids who decided to have a kid and just being forced to grow up. And I was just obsessed with the idea, like, as you grow up, things become easier, because like the younger you are, the less you know. And I think a big message I would send back to my young self would be just like, be a kid. You don't need to like worry about growing up, because it sucks. So I think that would be a big thing that I'd tell my younger self, just be a kid, enjoy being a kid.
Let's go with Brock.
Sorry, my space bar didn't work there. That's a really, that's exactly what I was gonna say. I wrote a song about 3 weeks ago with that same idea, sort of a message to my younger self, and how I always wanted to be kind of where I am right now, and I always thought it would be a little more glamorous But anything you do it can always feel like a job, but if you wanted to do something else, you would do something else. So the chorus is, to the boy I used to be, life ain't fair at 17. What you want ain't what you need. Step it back and let it be. To the life I used to know, all the friends that come and go, all that glitters can't be gold, so take a breath and take it slow. And to me, I wrote that with my friend Wyatt, and we both were just like, man, like, I feel like we both just had to say that. We like had to say those words and like actually feel that. So for me, it's just take it slow. You know, the next stage is going to come eventually, and you know, it's probably not going to be what you think it is, but there's going to be a lot of good right now and a lot of good then. There's going to be ups and downs the whole way. So live in the moment and enjoy what you have right now.
Powerful words. Dean, what's your message to your younger self?
Yeah, I always have a hard time with this question because you're afraid of contaminating the timeline, right? I'm like a sci-fi guy. I like watching Star Trek and stuff. So if they go back in time, they aren't allowed to say anything to anybody, otherwise it'll like contaminate the timeline. And kind of like what Rock was saying, like this is it, you know, like this isn't what I imagined. I don't think I ever thought when I was a kid growing up that I could be a piano player for like my career, and that like pays my bills, and like, you know, that's it. But it happened in my ignorance. It just kind of it happened. So I'm not sure I have anything to say to my old self, but like looking forward, something that I'm being mindful of is as we kind of said in an earlier question, of just holding space for people. How can I create art that makes space for people who need to be heard, and how can I hold that art with open hands, so that anyone can take it and it's out there. But yeah, just about creating space. That's something that I want to be mindful of in the future. So that's what I'm telling myself now for my future self too. Yeah.
Love that. Cenzina.
I like the idea of not contaminating the timeline, but I would have contaminated my timeline. If I could go back in time, I would tell my younger self not to listen to anybody and to just go for what you know in your heart is what you want to do. I would have said yes to that music school, and I would have gone and done the thing instead of being persuaded by what was a realistic life outcome and what would have been better, and et cetera, and et cetera. It took me getting really, really sick to finally give myself permission and worthiness to decide that music was a viable option. And I wish that my younger self would have had the courage to do that from the beginning.
Some powerful messages. I resonate with everything that everybody has said. I think, you know, the reason I asked this question, or I end the interview with this question, I always hope that, you know, I like sci-fi, so I'm always like, yeah, I don't think you can go back and change things often, but sometimes you want to talk to that inner child, and similar to Brock, I wrote a recent song about that. But to me, the main reason I asked this question is that I hope that the messages that you shared, and when you look back at this interview, or whenever you're bored and you're like, hey, let's go to minute 135 and listen to myself, that it echoes back to you when you need it the most, or when you need it at one point of the day, or in the future, or forever. That's something that will live online, but also in your heart. So I appreciate you sharing your thoughts, your feelings, the fun facts, the guilty pleasure songs, or the fun loving songs that you shared today. It was really nice to meet you all. I usually end the interview with like a soundtrack. And I'm like, I don't want to be biased. I've listened to everybody. It's not like, oh, this was my favorite track. No, it never goes like that. I usually do like a random game. But I felt that the name of the group and the song is how I feel right now. I'm like stranger friends. I feel like just recently meeting y'all, being like, these are strangers, but I feel like now that I know a little bit more about y'all, there's this like friendship that comes along with that, or connection. So I'm gonna play a little bit of this tune as I close out the Missy D Interview Constellation number 9. local Phillips, Cenzina, Curated by Thiessen. Artists on Wednesday, November 9th at Gilton Co. Thank you for your generous time. Thank you for being